Folks, there's an old legend that runs in my family. When the Italians stormed Ethiopia and became the only country in history to lose a tank to a spear, my grandfather grabbed a shotgun, a chair, placed it in front of his farm, sat in it, and told those bastards to come and get some. This is the story that was told to my father. When my father fought in the Ethiopian Civil War, he described to me the intense pain of being shot and how he respected the shooter for getting him from such a tough position. This is the story that was told to me when I was 4. And when I have kids, I too will have a story to share about where I was when the Genshin Impact 6.5 World Quest dropped. Yep, that's right, folks. Folks, this is right up there with the signing of the Civil Rights Act as one of the greatest moments in human history, and I knew it would be. So much so, I tried recording a live com for you guys. I really did, but, it didn't go well, man. I kind of just got, like, Murphy'd Law. Pretty much anything that could have gone wrong did. My dog somehow made it upstairs and just started eating bottle caps. Compound this with the fact that I hadn't slept for about 30 hours prior to me recording this, and I was pretty much going in and out of consciousness, and in spite of my best efforts to wake myself up, I wound up falling asleep. I don't know, watching it back, the parts that I did record the next day, it wasn't even good. I don't know what I'm supposed to talk about doing a live com. A lot of it was just like random ramblings.
I just don't know, man. Ever since I've gotten the puppy, it's just, I don't receive as much attention from the 70-year-old gay community that I used to.
Or just me, like, reacting.
That's beautiful. That's beautiful. Yes. Yes. It's beautiful. Shut the fuck up!
So quick warning, the beginning part of this recap does have my face in the corner, but it doesn't last the entire way, because I just fell asleep and said, fuck this. That aside, this was quite the patch. A lot of big revelations, I'll put it like that. We'll see which way the wind blows in the future regarding where we go with this channel. A lot of people seem to think I hate the Heavenly Principles now. Guys, me and my bestie ASMODAY are just taking a break from the man upstairs. It's not that serious. Anyway, questions. Melantus said that ASMODAY chose the Abyss sibiling. Why? The Traveler is said to not be a child of humanity descending from the first ancestor made by the Heavenly Principles. We know why, but why? The first human forged by the God of Light was stolen by the King of Darkness and became both good and evil. Do these two entities represent the Heavenly Principles and Nibelung? Why? ASMODAY, despite having abandoned her own temple, was aware of everything we did in it, as she's still keeping tabs on us. Why? Nihilita called either the Traveler or Paimon an outlander from afar or a returnee from the stars. Who were they speaking to, and why? Paimon never entered the apathetic interval. Why? Heavy-hitting questions, but you guys are lucky because you have someone who was the only black person at the fall of Constantinople. The story starts right outside Dornman Port. We run into a guy who has no idea who he is or what's going on. His memories appear to be missing. He says he found a note on him that said his name was Maki, and then he just leaves. It's then we notice to our right something oddly familiar and beautiful and heartwarming and life-affirming. It's ASMODAY's cube. So we head into town, run into a boomer who says Windrest Peak, the peak of the mountain, is haunted. Says while he was patrolling the sanatorium, he saw a ghost. So we head up to investigate and learn the ghost is actually the dead girl's identical twin sister. The girl says her most certainly dead sister wrote a note to her before she croaked that she'd be going somewhere far, far away. Given she then wound up with a tombstone, this girl has come to investigate whatever happened to her sister. She says her name is Zeitland, and we agree to help her investigate. We find nothing, and it's then the sky changes to a red hue and a celestial being calling itself Nihilita, the Watcher of Nothingness, appears before us. The being then says something interesting. It greets us as noble traveler from distant realms and returnee from the Sea of Stars. Now, whether both these titles are meant to refer to the traveler or one belongs to Paimon isn't clarified, but either scenario is startling. Nihilita says we were never supposed to meet, but it's fallen to the mortal realm for the sole purpose of ensuring we ascend to the heavens and free the... what the fuck is that word? The Ionis? From their predicaments. He then tells us to touch Venti's statue to reach the heavens. Hey, shout out Max, brother! This has been years in the making, nigga, we made it! We then bring up Zeitlin is with us, and Nihilda just now notices, calls her appearance inconceivable, and then disappears Zeitlin, but then states, she's under its protection, as she too will go with us to the heavens. The place we're going to is the Temple of Space, once ruled by the Shade of Space ASMODAY, who separated the Traveler and their sibling at the start of the game. Nihilda claims, we'll find our answers inside. Spoiler, not really, Nihilda fucking lied. Alright, we did not find our answers inside. Fuck, lying bastard. Was just willing to say fucking anything to get us to go. He then gives us a hand that he says will help us, and off we go. We touch Venti's statue, do a little Peter Pan fly into heaven, and we find Zeitlin up ahead, and while walking through what's essentially the museum of the entire world, rest in piss, dragon scum, we run into a guy named Historia who says he hails from a time when the dark dragon, that being Nibelung, tore the sky open, meaning this guy lived during the unified civilization. Historia says that since Nihilda sent us, it must mean we're here to strike back. Historia then mentions Escher's paintings before stating we should simply call that man Maki, who's the guy from earlier. Interesting. We then head in and make it to heaven. Historia says we need to hold a meeting, but before we go, we ask him where to find the god who rules this place. Historia says, however, she is long gone, and when she pieced out, one of the two stewards who watch over this place fell into the mortal world, that of course being Nihilda. The one who stayed is a being named Melanta, and they sort of just sit here and rule like a tyrant and have since long gone mad. Historia tells us the Temple of Space selects both people and objects from all over history and stores them here as memories, granting them eternal life. The people here just cannot die. Zeitlin says, it doesn't sound like a happy fate. Fucking troll. Historia says she thinks this place was probably not designed as a paradise, but that regardless, the god's sisters, meaning the other shades, would also bring things they found interesting into this temple, and they would allow some change to occur. But when Asmoday left, the sisters, the other shades, stopped coming, and Melanta, longing for Asmoday, reverted all the rules to their original states and began punishing change. So we're gonna fight through this temple, save all those who were punished before confronting Melanta, who's high above. We head to a spot to meet, and Zeitlin rests her suitcase, which she says is filled with things she needs to say goodbye. That's ominous. Historia then reveals Zeitlin's sister, nicknamed Hilda, came through this place, so he and everyone here knows her, because everyone here just sort of knows each other. Biblically accurate angel then comes in and steals Zeitlin's suitcase because it's classified its contents as relics of this age, and then just dispersed them all around the temple in 3 different locations. Luyan Academy from ancient Liyue, the Desert Pavilion from King Desheret's time, and oh boy, a Mahualiba chamber. It sounds really Sumeru-y. It's just a library. We make our way to the library and find 3 dudes outside of it, all from different time periods, squished into a single piece of paper. We free them, and the Liyue guy mentions the severing of the 3 deadly selves. Shout out Zhongli. All 3 of these guys are fictional authors. To Melanta, their work being stored in the library made it hard to distinguish what was real and what wasn't, so they were punished. We headed to the library and find some of Zeitlin's belongings, which were letters she and her sister wrote to one another before Hilda pieced out. Huang Wei says Hilda was one of the good ones. As a high praise. She brought a spark of joy to this place. Anyway, we had to further in and become a character in a book to grab some restoration pieces to reverse Melanta's punishment of those in the library. We finish the book and free the library and link up with Historia outside. We tell him about our own encounter with Asmoday. This causes Historia to tell us of the Atrium of Suchness, which is where Asmoday and the Watchers dwelled. In order to get there and seek an audience with Asmoday, well, when she was there, you had to offer up all your memories. Hell, to even get there, the bridge is made with your memories thanks to the power of space. Paimon then calls Asmoday evil because she's fucking stupid. Historia then says the god who designed the path to the heavens wasn't even Asmoday, but he doesn't say who it was. We then learn one of the guy's students was Abrax, the guy who built the Denichi Mikoshi and Ankonomiya. A lot of little, lore callbacks in this patch, man. Anyway, we have no idea then how to get to heaven because no one wants to give up all their memories, but Historia says he has a plan, but first let's rescue the other places. We then pull up to the Desert Pavilion, find a bunch of sand people, and then find one survivor who hails from a time when King Deshret still walked the earth. He recognizes Hilda's younger sister and then gives us a clarifier on how he wound up here. One day he was just working in the mausoleum and then suddenly wound up in a place called the Apathetic Interval. He was there for decades before then being granted entry into the Temple of Space. According to him, the other shades had him build desert buildings purely from memory. He then tells us the Sand People are real people who were punished by Melanta and we're gonna save them. Hearing this blasphemy, one of the sand-turning celestials, I guess is what we'll call them, spawns in and we take it down with our Remurian Centaurian strength. It was a funny running joke they had going on with this whole fucking Centaurian shit. We find another guy who leads the charge to save the others, resulting in him quickly getting turned into sand. After finding another survivor, we learn to stop people from being turned into sand. We need to take down the highest ranking Celestial here, that being the Punisher of Gomorrah. Is that what this place is supposed to represent, Gomorrah? Yeah, humanity is steeped in sin, man. Blessed be ASMODAY. Anyway, we find the bastard, kill it, thus saving this place from Melanta's rule. After finding Zeitlin's things, all the people begin discussing epitaphs, because, why not, I guess. Hilda apparently had her own ready to place on her tombstone, but we don't quite find out what it is yet. We leave the desert and link up with Astoria. He asks us if we know what Melanta and Hilda mean. Paimon answers for us, saying no, but Zeitlin reveals they mean melancholy and nothingness. Astoria then asks us why would ASMODAY name these beings nothingness and melancholy. Apparently, the answer is she can't empathize. Despite all the things the Shade of Space can do, she cannot in the least understand the human heart, so thus she named the two beings after concepts she's helpless against. Kind of like Batman calling himself Batman, because, well, he's afraid of bats. We then head into the last place, Lu Yuang. How do you say that? It's really long letters is the problem. Lu Yuang Academy, an art school lifted from old Inazuma. The people here have been turned into ink blobs. We find a boomer who speaks with us about Guhua. Again, a lot of lore callbacks. It was not new, but, again, nice callback. Now, for something that is new, the guy also tells us Ajdaha existed during the unified civilization, meaning the legends that Zhang Li gave Ajdaha form are just that, legends. We then head in, find Zeitling's things, which is a photo Hilda took. We then run from Evil Ink, learn Maki is Escher's nickname, talk about paintings, and then talk with Astoria about whether or not one should kill themselves if life ultimately returns to nothing. Astoria thinks we should choose to see tomorrow, however, worth pointing out. He then finds out Hilda is dead, and on her grave is written, "One lifetime doesn't count." He feels great regret, so we head back into the temple, and Astoria reveals Hilda may still be alive, and what's planted down below could just be a false grave. Zeitlin isn't convinced, and Astoria reveals that in order to head back to Earth, we must give up all our memories, head to the top, and meet with Melanta. While going, however, the entire temple changes colors, and we're cubed away. We awaken at the start of the game, and walk forward, but something isn't right. We're then cubed into a mysterious place, and we see past people crying, claiming they're in hell. They've let go of everything, and still they remain here. We find another version of us trapped, break it, and we then find ourselves welcomed into hell. We free Astoria, and he says we've wound up at the apathetic interval, a place where all enter before winding up at the Temple of Space. The only way to leave this place is through decades, if not centuries of meditation, letting go of every desire. Your mind must become completely empty. Astoria says he's not interested in doing this again, however, and neither should we, so we're gonna have to use the hands that Nihilda gave us to escape. We then head forward, freeing another person, and then later Zeitlin. The hand then breaks the seal on the place, and then we sort of just Peter Pan our asses right out of hell. Back at the temple, we find out Paimon wasn't dragged into the apathetic interval, and while we chalk this up to Paimon being mindless, folks, this is incredibly suspect. We regroup, and Astoria reveals the last person to face Melanta was Hilda. She gave up all her memories to confront the being for the sake of the people here. This catches Zeitlin completely off guard. He states no one knows what conversation was had between Hilda and Melanta, but it enraged the being so much, it tore down a part of the bridge made from Hilda's memories into the heavens. Astoria says he shan't let history repeat itself, and that this time he will be the one to offer up his memories. Zeitlin counters and says no, and that she will be the one to do it. Astoria refuses, but Zeitlin then just gets all really philosophical, and now understanding her sister's situation, stating her sister chose to see tomorrow only because she forgot everything when returning to the mortal world, meaning Hilda is still alive, making new memories, exploring the world. Lynn then says when we return to the mortal world, it's a reminder of who she is and all that's happened. Astoria reluctantly accepts and leads the way. We cross the bridge of Hilda's memories, which is out of just a simple poem about all the nations she's gonna explore. At the entrance of the atrium, you can find two things that are, folks, rather remarkable. Two empty cages, one belonging to the author of Vera's Melancholy, who's confirmed now to come from outside this world, and the other cage belonged to our sibling. We then head into the center and find Melanta, who upon seeing us flies into a rage, asking why ASMODAY would choose her and abandon it. Worth pointing out, the pronoun changes depending on which traveler you're playing. I'm playing Ether, so her in question would be referring to the abyss sibiling Lumine. We then escape some horror maze and it speaks with us. It calls us an outlander and says we aren't a child of humanity. We ask what that means, and Malanta tells us all who descend from the first ancestor made by the heavenly principles are children of humanity. Even the bastards born from the primordial sea who are granted a special pardon counts, but because we aren't connected to this, we aren't a child of humanity. We ask why ASMODAY took our sibling, and Malanta says it has no idea. It states it once believed it was simply a punishment for transgression, but it thinks there's something else going on that might have something to do with the myth that both light and dark created the first human. We ask why it's talking so much, and it says, well, that's the rules engraved in it by ASMODAY. Zeitlin asks what Hilda said to it, and Malanta replies, Hilda told it one day her younger sister would come and defeat Malanta. We then defeat Malanta. It cries out to Nihilida before revealing it's going to die soon because it transgressed the rules ASMODAY placed on it by destroying Hilda's bridge. We ask about her sibling and it tells us to fuck off. We ask why it punished everyone, and Malanta says it was just jealous of them, of change, of freedom, and of life. It just wants to be praised by ASMODAY when she returned. It wonders why ASMODAY didn't ask it to go with her when she left. Zeitlin says it's 'cause Malanta isn't rebellious enough. It then says it hates us but wants to live. Malanta then dies and the place returns to normal, and as we're leaving, ASMODAY's portal closes, meaning she's aware of everything that just occurred within her temple. We meet up with Astoria and ask him about the primordial human myth, and he says he's no clue what Malanta is talking about, but is reminded of an old parable, the angels condemned. Apparently, the god of light created a body in his likeness, but it was stolen by the king of darkness. Within that body was contained the power of light and dark, which resulted in the primordial human bearing both goodness and evil. Zeitlin says she's come up with the perfect epitaph for her tombstone, to be continued. She then says goodbye to Astoria, and we find ourselves back in the sanatorium, and Zeitlin no longer remembers who we are, nor who she is. We tell her her name, describe to her all that's happened recently, tell her she has a sister who, like her, has had all her memories wiped, and she's currently exploring the world. The suitcase Zeitlin's carrying will help her remind her who she is and who her sister is, and one day, the two will meet again. The final shot shows Zeitlin leaving the sanatorium. How quaint.